In Veculum, you can translate or change any text on any window to say, or printout to say what you want it to say. When I'm talking about text, I'm not talking about actual data, so the thing like quotes and things like that, but actual text that's in the program. So in this case, if I wanted to say, all right, I want to change quote total to say estimate total, or something like that, I'd go to the window where I want the text changed, and I'd say Control F10, which will bring up the browse local translations. I would then go to my quote total, and if I want to change it throughout the program, then I could change it over here to say estimate total. And then whenever that quote total is found inside the program, then it will change it. Or if I wanted to change it just on this window, then I would change it to estimate total over here, for example. Okay, so then what it would do is when I come back into the screen again, it will change the quote total to estimate total. Okay, now I might want in my application to say, that's all very well, but I want everywhere and the word quote is found to say estimate. Okay, so then I would go to my all global, and there's this little button called a bulk change button. Okay, and I can say every time I see the word quote, I wanted to change it to estimate. Okay, and I click OK, and then it will change 471 entries. So throughout the program, wherever it finds a quote, it will change to estimate. Then there's also, if I found quotation, then I wanted to say estimate as well, or estimation if I wanted to. And that would also be quite helpful, because then I could change that as well. And that basically covers the instance of quote throughout my application. So now if I come back in here and I come back into the window, you'll see that, oh, I'd need to load up the application again. So let's close down the application and let's run it again. Okay. And we are going to go back here again. And so now you'll see that it's loaded up as estimates. And if I click on estimates there, then it's loaded there, estimates, estimate total. So every time the word quote appears, even in my printout, so if I print it out, okay, send none, zero values, then it will say unfinalized estimate, whereas previously it would have said unfinalized quotation. So yeah, that's just a helpful way. If you wanted to translate text on a printout, okay, then what you need to do is, before you do the Control F10, you've got to go to Setup, you go to your quote or job defaults. In this case, it's translated it to estimate or job defaults, but quote and job defaults. And if I go down to, okay, this window isn't translated at all, because we need to be able to advise you on how to set up your program. So that's why quote over here hasn't been changed to estimate. So no translation will happen in this particular window, but let's go and print an email setting. So quote and job settings, print email settings, and over here it says pause reports for translation. Okay, so now what happens is, then what you'll do is you'll go to the place, the text where you want to, the report containing the text you want to translate, and you click on print. And now it'll pop up this message. Okay, well, not that message, but now it'll pop up this translate report message. So if you want to translate it now, it'll bring up browse local translations. And now what you can do is you can say, okay, I want to change, okay, it's already got the quotation to local estimation there. And obviously it's brought in the estimate. But if I wanted to change cancel to, or if I wanted to change VIN number to just VIN and no, or something like that, and I wanted this just a local translation, so it's just on this particular report, then VIN no, then I could do that and then start, and now it'll come up, instead of VIN number, it'll come up as VIN no on the printout. Now, that's all very well, but you might like some of your actual physical data formatted in a different way. So this would be typically useful in a currency type of situation where you're not using a rand currency, and so in that case, you would want to translate your R, the way the data is presented, with a different currency. So in that case, I would go to all global, and the Veculum uses a thing called a picture in order to format or to present the data to you as a client. So in this case, what I've done is I've said, okay, I want to change the number that has got an R sign. I want to change it to Namibian dollar. Okay, so I can use the same type of scenario where I can do a bulk change, and I can say every time that @n appears, then change it to the @n dollar. It's exactly the same type of thing as the quote with a bulk change. And then it will change everywhere that the R appears to the N dollar. So you'll see, I don't know if you would have noticed, but when I did my printout just now, I'm not going to translate now, you'll notice that the N dollar has been substituted, or should I say the rand has been substituted for the N dollar over there. And that's because of the translation. And if I remove that translated picture, then it'll come back to the rand value. So that's just a couple of ways that you can use Veculum to easily change the text that appears either on your printouts or on your screens for easier use of your users. Or the way the data is presented, like as in currency or date pictures, you might want to change the way the date is formatted. So instead of 07/05/2020, you can change the way the date is formatted to 2020/07/05, for example.